Imagine logging into your bank account, the one place your financial life resides, expecting to see the numbers that represent your future, your hard-earned security, decades of careful planning, 40 years of diligence, your independence, your peace of mind, the money set aside for enjoying retirement, maybe that trip you always dreamed of, helping grandkids, and seeing zero. An absolute, stark, terrifying zero. Worse, much worse, seeing transactions you never made. Scrolling endlessly down the screen, money hemorrhaging out, to places you've never heard of, for things you'd never buy, linked to crimes you never committed, horrifying crimes committed, using your stolen identity, your good name dragged through the digital mud by someone you loved, someone you trusted without question, implicitly, your own nephew, your sister's boy, the one you helped raise. This isn't a movie plot, this isn't some far-fetched thriller. This happened. It's devastatingly real. I'm Victoria and welcome back to the channel. Here I share stories that dig deep, stories that often leave you breathless, grasping for understanding, stories of profound betrayal, the kind that shakes your faith in humanity, but also stories of incredible strength, resilience you wouldn't believe possible, and sometimes, yes, sometimes stories of justice served cold, very, very cold. Today's story, it's definitely one of those. It sits heavy. It burns. It comes from a woman I'll call Agnes, a pseudonym to protect her privacy, of course. She reached out after finding some of my other stories, felt a connection. We met several times actually. Quiet woman, unassuming at first glance, but her eyes sharp, analytical, they don't miss much. Still, you wouldn't guess it to look at her now, enjoying her quiet garden, but she spent decades working in a world shrouded in secrecy, codes, cryptography, national security level stuff. Breaking and making secrets, understanding systems, finding weaknesses. She told me what happened, the whole gut-wrenching saga, made me promise absolute confidentiality until she felt ready. Until she gave the okay. She called me last week. She gave the okay. It's time her story was told. What her nephew, let's call him Marcus, and his calculating girlfriend, Chloe, did to her, it's almost beyond belief. It's calculated cruelty, a predatory dance. Dressed up as familial care, concern, masking contempt. It's theft on a massive scale, yes, but it's so much more. It's psychological warfare, insidious manipulation, and a terrifying attempt to erase her digitally, financially, mentally, and maybe, eventually, physically. The thought chills you to the bone, but they underestimated Agnes badly. So badly it's almost laughable if it weren't so dark. They forgot who she was beneath the quiet exterior. They forgot the mind she possessed. The skills she honed over a lifetime. They forgot what she was capable of, especially when pushed past the breaking point, fueled by pure, righteous fury. A glacial rage. You absolutely need to hear how Agnes turned the tables meticulously, brilliantly, using the very tools of the digital age they thought she didn't understand, tools she practically helped build the foundations for. Stick with me, stay tuned, you won't believe the ending, the sheer precision of it. Before we dive deep. If you believe in the power of stories like these, stories of reclaiming one's life, hit that subscribe button right now, click the notification bell, because this is a masterclass in payback. You don't want to miss what's coming. Okay, let me take you there, deep into Agnes's experience. She needed me to tell this exactly as she felt it, lived it, the rawness of it all. So now I'm going to step back for a while and let her speak in her own words. This is Agnes's story, starting before the nightmare truly began, before the mask slipped. I always liked Marcus, my sister's boy, always felt a duty towards him. He was charming, everyone said so. Quick with a smile, quick with an excuse too, though I didn't see it clearly then. Lost his parents young, tragically. My sister, then her husband not long after. A tough start. I tried to be there, a steady presence in his life. An anchor. Sent him money for college, more than I probably should have. He scraped through. Helped him get his first car, co-signed the loan, actually. A risk looking back, paid off a couple of his early debts, credit cards he'd run up. Believed his stories. Always thought he just needed a little boost, a little faith, someone in his corner. He seemed grateful back then, appreciative, lots of thanks Aunt Agnes, lots of hugs, lots of promises to make me proud. He introduced me to Chloe a few years back, maybe 5 years ago now. She was polished, that's the word, sleek, ambitious. Eyes that seemed to assess value instantly. Always complimented my house, my furniture, my art. "Oh, Agnes, this painting is exquisite. Your taste is impeccable. A little too much maybe, a little too focused on the material. Hindsight is cruel, isn't it? Illuminates all the shadows you ignored." They started visiting more often, significantly more often after I retired. I'd worked for decades in cryptanalysis, government contractor. Sensitive work, demanding. Retirement hit me harder than I expected. The structure was gone. The challenge. Suddenly there was just quiet, space, too much of it. They said they were worried about me living alone in the big house. "Are you eating properly, Aunt Agnes?" Chloe would ask, all wide-eyed concern. "It must get lonely here," Marcus would add, patting my hand. Offered to help with my online stuff. Banking, bills, investments, said it was too complicated now, too risky for someone my age. These scammers are so clever. The irony, oh, the irony. It felt patronizing, deeply so if I'm honest, but I convinced myself it came from a good place. Concern, love, stupid, I know that now, so incredibly stupid. Naive. I'd spent my entire professional life navigating systems far more complex, far more dangerous than online banking. Systems designed by brilliant minds to be impenetrable. My job was to find the way in. Yet I let them help. Handed over the keys, metaphorically speaking. Why, I ask myself that every day. I was tired. Retirement felt untethered, quieter than I expected, more isolating. Their attention, their presence, it filled a void. It felt nice for a while, like I still mattered, like I was cared for. They'd bring groceries sometimes, often things they liked. Chloe would fuss over my vitamins, rearranging the bottles on the counter. Then she started bringing me special supplements, things she ordered online. "My holistic guru recommended these, Agnes," she'd say brightly. "Amazing for memory and boosting energy. Little amber bottles, no proper labels. Proprietary blend," she chirped. I took them, trusting like an idiot. Why question her? She seemed so earnest. They helped me set up new passwords for everything. Stronger ones, auntie, much safer. Of course they kept a record. Just in case you forget. They started managing my main accounts to make it easier for you. Consolidated things, set up transfers. Showed me simplified statements they printed out, always looking healthy, comfortable. Never the real bank statements, just their curated summaries. Everything looked fine, placid, stable. I trusted Marcus, he was family, my sister's son. My legacy wasn't just about the money I'd saved, it was about trust, connection, family bonds. I thought he understood that, valued it. He understood nothing, nothing except greed. His own reflection in shiny things. The first real sign, the first tremor that something was genuinely wrong. It wasn't one big thing, not initially. It was subtle, insidious. Little things easily explained away. A bill paid late, incurring a fee when Marcus swore he'd handled it weeks ago. "Oh, the post is so slow these days." A package arriving from a high-end store addressed to me but containing a designer handbag clearly meant for Chloe. Something I would never buy. Marcus laughed it off. "Silly vendor mix-up. Consider it an early birthday gift, Aunt Agnes." Chloe just beamed. Plausible deniability expertly deployed. Each incident minor in isolation. But they began to accumulate like small stones in a shoe, uncomfortable, worrying. Then the physical symptoms started. Gradually, the headaches, dull at first, then more persistent, behind the eyes, and a fuzziness, a brain fog that I couldn't shake, difficulty concentrating, forgetting small details, things I attributed to age. To retirement adjustment. Those special supplements Chloe kept pushing, bringing over new bottles every few weeks. Consistency is key, Agnes. I felt diminished, slowed down, not myself. Easier to manage, I suppose. That was the point, wasn't it? Keep the old lady docile, confused. They'd visit, always together now. All smiles and superficial concern while subtly, expertly isolating me. Screening my calls, I'd hear Marcus answer my phone in the other room. "Oh, hi, Carol. Aunt Agnes is resting right now. She's been a bit under the weather. I'll tell her you called." But he never would, making excuses why old friends couldn't visit. "She's really not feeling up to seeing anyone today, maybe next week." When I felt perfectly fine, just foggy. Friends stopped calling as often, stopped dropping by, believed the narrative. Gaslighting, a term I only understood later, but I was living it. making me doubt my own mind, my own health, my own perceptions. "Are you sure you didn't order that, Aunt Agnes? You've been a bit forgetful lately. Maybe we should double-check that appointment. You seemed confused about the date yesterday, suggesting maybe I needed more help. Perhaps it's time we looked at some nicer assisted living places just for peace of mind," just casually dropping seeds of doubt, of dependence, of incompetence. They were building a cage around me, bar by digital bar, pill by poisonous pill. A comfortable cage at first, and I was letting them, almost collaborating in my own diminishment, smiling weakly, thanking them for their care, their concern, oblivious almost, because deep down, buried under the fog and the fatigue, a flicker remained. The analyst, the codebreaker, the part of my brain trained for decades to see patterns, to question anomalies. Noticing inconsistencies, Marcus's increasingly expensive watch, Chloe's new car, vague answers about Marcus's job, doing really well. Patterns that didn't quite fit their narrative of careful concern, but I suppressed it, pushed it down. Didn't want to believe it, couldn't bear to. Who wants to believe their own family, the boy they helped raise, is a predator, wearing a mask of love? The real shock, the moment the floor fell away, the one that shattered everything, it came on a Tuesday morning. Sunny, birds singing outside, completely ordinary. I needed to transfer funds for my semi-annual property taxes, a significant amount. Logged into my main bank account, the one Marcus managed so diligently. The page loaded slowly, my heart inexplicably starting to pound. A premonition. The balance displayed $17.38. $17.38. From just over $500,000, maybe closer to $600,000, built over 40 years of work and careful investment. My breath just stopped, caught in my throat. A physical blow, cold dread flooding my chest. Prickling my scalp, numbness in my fingers on the keyboard. This wasn't possible, it had to be a glitch, a website error, a mistake. My eyes scanned the number again. $17.38, mocking me. Clicked on transactions, my hand shaking. Scrolling back, days, weeks, months, transfers, huge ones, 5 figures, 10 figures, sometimes multiple times a week. To accounts I didn't recognize, numbered companies, offshore entities, cryptocurrency purchases, vast amounts. Bitcoin, Ethereum, obscure altcoins, through exchanges I'd never heard of. Online gambling sites, massive deposits, high-stakes poker, sports betting, places known for money laundering. High-risk speculative investments, penny stocks, complex derivatives, all losing propositions it seemed, my money incinerated, all linked somehow back to my name, my digital footprint, my IP address, my devices. But it wasn't just the money, oh no, that was horrific, but it was far worse. Mixed in with the financial carnage were other transactions, other activities, payments to dark web forums, notorious marketplaces, purchases of illegal software, hacking tools, password crackers, malware kits. Even worse, much worse, search histories, logged from my devices, linked to my IP address, my accounts for illicit materials, sickening things, child exploitation content, violent pornography, things that make you physically ill to even contemplate. Things that could send someone to prison for a very long time. My identity wasn't just stolen, it was weaponized, defiled, used to frame me, implicate me in crimes I couldn't even fathom committing, crimes that repulsed me to my core. Suddenly, the special memory supplements, the fogginess, the headaches, the help with passwords, the simplified statements, the managed accounts, the increasing isolation, it all clicked into place, a horrifying, intricate mosaic of betrayal. Cold, calculated, and deeply personal. They weren't just stealing my money, my retirement, my security. They were systematically destroying my reputation, my legacy, my very identity, building a case, brick by incriminating brick maybe, to have me declared mentally incompetent, unable to manage my affairs, or worse, to make me disappear legally, committed to an institution, or perhaps, eventually, physically. Get rid of the inconvenient old woman entirely. While they lived lavishly on the spoils of my life's work, I felt hollowed out, scoured clean by the violation down to my soul, the trust I'd given so freely, so stupidly weaponized against me with ruthless precision, my own kindness, my own love for my nephew twisted into a tool for my destruction. Nausea rose, hot and acidic in my throat. I barely made it to the bathroom. Then came the rage, not hot, flashing rage, the kind that screams and breaks things. No, something different. Something colder, deeper, a glacial fury. The kind that freezes you solid, focuses your mind to a single, sharp point. The kind that remembers every slight, every lie, every patronizing smile, every insincere compliment. They thought I was a frail old woman, easily confused, easily manipulated, easily discarded when I was no longer useful. They forgot. They completely forgot who I was underneath the grandmotherly facade. They forgot I spent my life in the shadows. Breaking codes others thought unbreakable. Analyzing complex systems. Identifying vulnerabilities. Dealing with secrets and the dangerous, careful people who kept them. They mistook quietness for weakness, age for obsolescence. They saw grey hair and saw a victim. Big mistake. Huge, catastrophic for them. The absolute turning point wasn't just seeing the zero balance, wasn't just the horror of the framing, it was later that same day. The final insult, the spark that lit the fuse. Marcus called, his voice dripping with false concern, that smooth, practiced tone. "Aunt Agnes, are you okay? I tried calling earlier, you didn't pick up." His voice tight with feigned worry. "Listen, weird thing, someone from the bank's fraud department called me on my cell asking very strange questions," a pause for effect. "About your accounts, saying there was suspicious activity, really aggressive questions actually." He sounded protective. "Don't worry your head about it, Auntie. I handled it. I told them you've been a bit forgetful lately, getting confused with the online stuff, bless your heart. I explained that I handle everything for you now, that you wouldn't understand all the technical details, that you sometimes misplace things or get dates mixed up." He was preemptively discrediting me, painting me as senile, unreliable, to the very institution that held the evidence of his crimes, covering his tracks while pretending to protect me, smearing my name to save his skin. The absolute chilling, calculated arrogance of it, the utter contempt hidden behind that veneer of solicitous care. That specific moment, hearing those words, that was the moment the ice in my veins solidified into high tensile steel. Forget sadness, forget despair, forget victimhood. This was war, a silent war perhaps, but total war nonetheless. And I was going to bring the full weight of my forgotten arsenal, my lifetime of skills, down on their smug, entitled heads. They wanted to play in the digital world. They thought they were masters of it. Fine, game on, let's see who understands the game better. Okay, pause right there. Just breathe for a second. Can you even imagine the depth of that betrayal? Stealing everything, then framing her for monstrous crimes, poisoning her slowly, all while pretending to care. It makes your blood run cold, doesn't it, the sheer evil of it? This is where Agnes, the quiet cryptographer, the underestimated retiree, woke up. Fully. And trust me, what she did next, it's methodical, it's brilliant, it's strategically flawless, and it is utterly ruthless. If you're finding this story as gripping, as infuriating, as utterly compelling as I did when I first heard it, do me a quick favor, show some support for Agnes's resilience. Hit that like button below, let the algorithm know you appreciate stories of strength and justice, however cold it might be served. It really helps the channel reach more people, and it lets me know you want more content like this. Seriously, it makes a difference. Now, strap in, back to Agnes. As she begins to unleash the storm. First rule of engagement, reconnaissance. Gather intelligence, understand the enemy, map the battlefield. They thought they'd wiped their digital tracks clean, clever boys and girls, using my identity, my devices, my network as their personal playground and sewer. Amateurs, arrogant amateurs. They used commercially available VPNs, probably thought that made them invisible ghosts in the machine. Cute, easily traceable with the right resources. Logs always exist somewhere. They routed transactions through multiple shell accounts, cryptocurrency tumblers, used encrypted messaging apps with disappearing messages, standard obfuscation techniques, textbook stuff, easily bypassed if you know where to look, how to look, and have the patience to unravel the threads. My old skills, admittedly rusty after a few years of quiet retirement, but the foundations, the core principles, they were solid as bedrock, embedded in my thinking. Cryptography isn't just about making and breaking codes. It's fundamentally about patterns, anomalies, understanding system weaknesses, human weaknesses, and exploiting them. I needed my tools, my real tools, my sanctuary. Not the simplified for seniors laptop Marcus had so thoughtfully bought me, no doubt loaded with spyware and keyloggers, reporting my every move back to him. I wiped it and stuck it in a drawer. Useless. In the back of my spare room closet. Buried under a pile of old photo albums and winter blankets was my old workstation, my trusted companion from the last decade of my career, powerful for its time, obsolete by today's bleeding-edge standards maybe, running an older OS but clean. It hadn't been connected to the internet in over 5 years, air-gapped, secure. Mine. I spent hours cleaning it physically, setting it up in my study. The familiar hum was comforting, like meeting an old friend. The next few days demanded meticulous planning and acting, feigning increasing confusion, worsening illness, leaning into the role they'd cast for me whenever Marcus or Chloe called or visited. Oh dear, yes, the bank called again. It's all so confusing, numbers and things, headaches, vague answers. Thank you so much for handling it, Marcus. I just don't know what I'd do without you and Chloe looking after me. A frail smile, a trembling hand, letting them think their plan was proceeding perfectly. That I was fadding helpless, sinking into the fog they were creating, lowering their guard. Meanwhile, nights were different, transformed, fueled by strong black coffee and that cold, burning, energizing rage. I worked. The fog seemed to lift when I sat at that keyboard, purpose sharpening my mind. Pulled out old external hard drives, accessed heavily encrypted archives containing my personal toolkits, proprietary software, analysis techniques, things only I had the keys to. Keys stored only in my memory. Contacted one person, only one person from my old life I could trust implicitly, absolutely. Bernard, my old colleague, my protégé years ago, a brilliant mind I'd helped nurture. He owed me a few favors, big ones. He ran his own cybersecurity firm, now top tier, discreet, expensive, highly effective. Dealing with corporate espionage, nation-state actors, this would be child's play for him technically. Used to burn a phone. Purchased with cash from a corner store miles away. Arranged a meet. Met him in a noisy, crowded coffee shop downtown, a place I'd never normally frequent. Anonymous, public, safe. He looked surprised to see me, concerned even. I probably looked rough. I didn't waste time. Passed him a single, unmarked data chip across the table. Encrypted with a key we'd used 2 decades ago on a particularly nasty job. A key only he and I knew. Bernard, I need deniable reconnaissance. Deep dive, full-spectrum dominance on specific financial trails, and trace origins of certain chemical compounds. My voice was low, steady, cold. He just looked at me, saw the look in my eyes, the steel beneath the surface. He knew me well enough. Didn't ask too many questions about the why, understood the stakes immediately, just nodded slowly. Consider it done, Agnes, whatever you need, pro bono of course, for old time's sake, and take care of yourself. While Bernard's team, sworn to secrecy, dug into the complex financial forensics, tracing the convoluted money flows Marcus and Chloe tried so hard to hide behind shell corporations and crypto mixers, I focused on the framing, the identity theft, the digital poison they'd deliberately spread using my credentials. My name. They'd used my home network, my devices, my accounts. Clever. Thought it made the perfect cover, but sloppy, incredibly sloppy in their digital hygiene. Left traces everywhere. Leaving digital fingerprints, metadata fragments, browser caches, deleted files easily recoverable, breadcrumbs they didn't even know existed. Like arrogant children scribbling graffiti on walls, thinking they were invisible artists of crime. They were just vandals. I started mapping their entire online activity, not just the manufactured criminal parts they tried to pin on me, but their personal asterisk digital lives. Everything. Social media profiles. Online shopping habits, gaming accounts, forum posts, Chloe's aspirational lifestyle blog, Marcus's questionable dating app histories, cloud storage accounts, music streaming preferences, everything. They lived their lives online, broadcasting constantly. Bragging, consuming, projecting an image of effortless success, wealth derived from smart investments, all built on my stolen future, documenting their own avarice, and I started collecting keys. Quietly. Patiently. Not physical keys, digital keys. Passwords, security question answers, recovery email addresses, phone numbers used for two-factor authentication, identifying loopholes in their security practices. Their digital hygiene was appalling, laughably insecure. Predictable patterns, reusing passwords across multiple sites, using easily guessable information like birthdays, pet names, anniversaries. Weak spots everywhere, vulnerabilities waiting to be exploited. It was almost insulting. A puzzle box for beginners. Did they really think the woman who cracked encrypted diplomatic cables for a living couldn't figure out their mother's maiden name or the name of Chloe's childhood hamster? Please. Piece by painstaking piece I gained access, root access in some cases, silent, invisible, planting my own backdoors, my own passive observers, Trojan horses dressed as system updates, watching them, learning their rhythms, their conversations, their dependencies, their anxieties, their plans. Discovering the full, sickening extent of their plans, laid bare in their own words. Encrypted emails and messages between them, retrieved from cloud backups they thought were secure, gloating about how easy I was to fool, planning the next steps, accelerating the dosage of the supplements. She seems a bit too lucid some days, discussing lawyers specializing in elder law, specifically regarding initiating power of attorney procedures, involuntary competency hearings. The doctor seems sympathetic. Even mocking me, my dotty confusion, my old lady habits, cruel, dismissive jokes between them. Each discovery, each casual cruelty uncovered fueled the cold fire, hardened my resolve, erased any lingering doubt about the path I had to take. Bernard delivered. His report, delivered via secure dead drop, was devastating, professionally compiled, legally irrefutable proof. Forensic accounting at its finest. The money trail meticulously untangled. Laundered through a complex web of shell corporations registered in obscure jurisdictions, ultimately ending in offshore accounts under names easily linked back to Marcus and several LLCs Chloe had secretly set up years prior. Clear intent, clear conspiracy, clear criminal enterprise. He also found it. Traces of the specific chemical compounds used in those special supplements, ordered online from a shady chemical supplier in Eastern Europe. Delivered discreetly to a P.O. box Marcus had rented under a false name. Subtle neurotoxins, designed to impair cognitive function, mimic dementia symptoms over time. Difficult to detect without knowing exactly what to look for. Attempted murder, slow, insidious, calculated, but murder nonetheless. Bernard's report contained enough evidence for the police for multiple lawsuits for decades in prison. Airtight. But sitting there, reading the cold, hard facts, I knew it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough, not for what they did, not for the violation. Prison would be punishment, society's punishment, but it wouldn't be justice, not my asterisk justice, not for the attempt to erase me body and soul. They tried to dismantle me digitally, financially, mentally, piece by piece. They needed to understand viscerally what that felt like. They needed to be dismantled, exposed, humiliated, stripped bare in front of the world they desperately courted. My plan formed. Coalescing out of the data streams and the icy rage. Intricate, layered, multi-phased. Using their own tools, their own world, their own arrogance against them. Cryptography isn't just about hiding information, it's also about revealing it, selectively, strategically, devastatingly. And ultimately it's about control. Absolute control over the information flow. I decided on a multi-pronged attack: digital annihilation, public shamming, social implosion, and finally legal destruction. All timed. Synchronized perfectly, like a complex decryption sequence clicking into place. The execution phase required absolute precision, no room for error. I chose a date: Marcus's upcoming 35th birthday, seemed fitting, poetic in a dark way. He and Chloe were planning a lavish party, renting out a trendy downtown art gallery, boasting about it online. Funded, of course, by my stolen life savings, inviting everyone they wanted to impress. The perfect stage. The perfect audience for the final act. Phase 1, the digital lockout, scorched earth. The night before the party, while they slept, dreaming of champagne and applause, I initiated the sequence. Calmly, methodically, using the comprehensive access I'd meticulously gained over the previous weeks, I systematically changed every single password they had, every single one. Bank accounts, emails, social media, cloud storage, cryptocurrency wallets, online gaming accounts, shopping profiles. Even streaming services. Everything. Replaced recovery methods, emails, phone numbers with secure, anonymous burner accounts and numbers I controlled, untraceable back to me. Enabled the highest possible security settings on everything, multi-factor authentication using hardware keys I possessed, biometric locks tied to my fingerprints where possible, complex, randomly generated passphrases that existed only in my encrypted files, 256-bit encryption. Unbreakable for them, their digital lives bricked, completely inaccessible. A digital iron cage slammed shut. Imagine waking up on your birthday, reaching for your phone, and it's a useless brick demanding credentials you don't possess. Your laptop frozen on a login screen you don't recognize, your email inaccessible, your social media locked, your bank balance zero or worse showing overdrafts from returned payments, your cryptocurrency vanished into the ether. That was their morning. Sheer escalating panic, followed by dawning sickening horror, the frantic, useless calls to customer support lines, the growing realization that this wasn't a glitch, it was deliberate, targeted, total. Phase 2, the information cascade, controlled demolition. While they were reeling, scrambling, trying desperately to understand the extent of the digital siege, I triggered the next stage. The leaks. Remember those dark web purchases, the illegal software? The sickeningly illicit search histories they'd pinned on me, the evidence designed to frame me. I hadn't deleted it when I cleared my name digitally. Oh no, I'd copied it, all of it, securely, authenticated, time-stamped. Along with Bernard's devastating financial investigation report, the proof of the supplement tampering, and copies of their own incriminating emails and messages gloating about their plans for me. I packaged it all neatly, devastatingly. Segmented for maximum impact. And I didn't just send the complete package to the police, not yet. That would be too clean, too quick. No, first came the targeted leaks, the social shrapnel, using anonymous remailers, encrypted channels, routing through multiple countries. I sent specific pieces of the puzzle to specific people who would ensure maximum damage. The irrefutable evidence of massive financial fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering. Sent directly to the heads of compliance and fraud departments at the banks involved, and anonymously tipped off to 2 specific, very hungry financial crime reporters Bernard knew had integrity and tenacity. Names, account numbers, transaction IDs. Undeniable. The concrete evidence of Marcus's multiple infidelities, including explicit messages and photos retrieved from his supposedly secure cloud storage, sent anonymously to Chloe's closest friends, her business partners, and especially her very prim, very judgmental mother, with precise screenshots, timestamps, deliciously specific, humiliating details. Let her own social circle tear her down. The chilling evidence of the plan to drug me, the specific neurotoxin orders, the emails discussing competency hearings and power of attorney strategies, sent to my lawyer and to key members of our extended family, the ones Marcus and Chloe had worked so hard to charm and manipulate, poisoning them against me. Let the family know the truth. Let them see the monsters behind the masks. But the masterstroke, the piece I savoured executing, was public, subtle, yet designed to be found. I used techniques borrowed from my old world steganography, hiding data within plain sight, digital watermarking, embedding information within seemingly innocuous files or messages. I embedded fragments of the evidence, encrypted clues, checksums pointing towards the larger data caches I'd prepared. Pointing directly towards Marcus and Chloe, within seemingly normal online spaces they frequented, and where others might look, given the right nudge. A seemingly innocent comment left on a niche online strategy game forum. Marcus was active on contained hidden encoded coordinates linked directly to the primary Cayman Islands offshore account. A glowing 5-star review Chloe had recently left on a luxury handbag website. contained hidden text within the image metadata detailing the network of shell corporations she'd established. A signature block on a public coding repository Marcus occasionally contributed small snippets to, contained a complex cipher that, when solved, pointed directly to the transaction records for the dark web purchases and the chemical supplier. Subtle, undetectable to the casual observer, but easily found by anyone actively looking asterisk, triggered by the right keywords. Like digital breadcrumbs, Hansel and Gretel for the information age leading investigators, reporters, or just the morbidly curious internet detectives directly to their doorstep. A self-generating scandal. I seeded these clues meticulously online hours before the party was due to start, priming the environment. Phase 3, the birthday surprise, public execution. Marcus and Chloe somehow managed to pull themselves together enough to attend their own birthday party. The show must go on after all. Appearances are everything. They arrived late, visibly stressed, faces pale beneath forced smiles, constantly checking their useless phones, whispering frantically to each other between greeting guests, desperately trying to maintain the facade of glamorous success. I wasn't invited, of course. I was the confused old aunt, safely tucked away, supposedly unaware. They probably felt relieved I wasn't there to embarrass them, but I arranged for a delivery, perfectly timed. Precisely at 9 p.m, just as Marcus was scheduled to give his self-congratulatory toast to our future success, thanking everyone for coming, a single, large, dramatic floral arrangement arrived, delivered by a uniformed courier, addressed conspicuously to Marcus and Chloe. No card attached, just flowers, stunningly beautiful and pure white, lilies traditionally associated with funerals. A silent, ominous statement, nestled discreetly within the thickest part of the blooms. Hidden from casual view but easily found if you looked closely was a small, elegantly printed card. Thick stock, engraved lettering, not addressed to them, addressed simply. For the guests, it read, perhaps ask Marcus about Cayman account 74B Alpha, or ask Chloe about neurotoxin shipments to P.O. Box 1138 in Wilmington. Happy birthday. Simple, direct, devastatingly specific. Undeniable keywords. I had a friend there, Bernard's associate, actually. Discreetly observing from the edge of the crowd, reporting back via coded text messages. The initial confusion as the card was discovered, passed around, whispered about, the sudden awkward silence falling over the trendy gallery space, the dawning realization on the faces of guests who knew them well, connecting dots, remembering odd remarks or flashes of excessive spending. Someone, inevitably, pulled out their phone, typed in the keywords, Cayman 74B Alpha. Neurotoxin P.O. Box 1138, maybe found one of my carefully seeded digital breadcrumbs, a forum post, the hidden metadata, a news alert triggered by the earlier leaks to reporters. The atmosphere shifted instantly, from strained celebration to open suspicion to collective horror. Gasps, murmurs turning into angry accusations. Marcus and Chloe, trapped in the center of the room, exposed under the sudden harsh glare of their peers. Their carefully constructed world shattering around them in real time, like watching a building implode. No escape, no denial possible when faced with such specific, damning details. Their digital world was locked tight, their secrets spilling out into the open like poison. Phase 4, the legal hammer, the endgame, while the party imploded spectacularly, turning into a scene of social carnage. My lawyer, armed with the complete, verified dossier from Bernard and myself, was already meeting with pre-alerted authorities. Federal investigators Bernard had discreetly tipped off earlier that day, Financial Crimes Unit, Cybercrime Division, even the local DA's office for the poisoning aspect, presenting the meticulously documented evidence, the irrefutable financial trails, the identity theft, the damning communications, the forensic proof of the attempted poisoning, the overarching conspiracy, everything cross-referenced and indexed. An investigator's dream. Warrants were applied for and issued swiftly. Emergency basis given the flight risk and the severity. By the time Marcus and Chloe, humiliated and panicked, tried to flee their own disastrous party through a side exit, authorities were waiting. Calmly, patiently, not just local police but federal agents, FBI jackets visible, serious faces, no negotiation. They were arrested publicly, humiliatingly. Amidst the flashing lights and the shocked faces of their former friends and colleagues spilling out of the gallery, the ultimate downfall, captured on cell phone cameras, the fallout was biblical as intended. Their assets worldwide freeze orders. Instantly, the stolen money painstakingly clawed back by forensic accountants and lawyers, though much was indeed lost forever in Marcus's reckless gambling and Chloe's luxury spending sprees. Some justice but not complete restitution. Their reputations obliterated, social pariahs overnight, front-page news in the local paper, whispered about in financial circles, deleted from contact lists, shunned. The legal battle was surprisingly swift, the evidence was simply too overwhelming, too well documented. Marcus, facing a raft of serious federal and state charges, aggravated identity theft, massive wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, attempted murder, faced with decades, potentially life in prison, took a plea deal. A long one. 25 years minimum. Chloe charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, accessory after the fact, accessory to attempted murder, tried desperately to betray Marcus to save herself, painting him as the sole mastermind. It didn't work. The emails proved her deep complicity. Significant prison time too, 15 years. Their carefully curated world, their image, their future vanished, replaced by concrete walls, drab uniforms, and the endless crushing weight of consequences stemming from their own cruelty and greed. My money, well, recovering all of it is unlikely. The damage was too deep, the spending too profligate, maybe half eventually. But that wasn't the primary point anymore, not really. My name cleared completely, unequivocally, the digital frame-up exposed for the malicious fiction it was, all charges expunged, apologies issued, my reputation ironically enhanced in certain circles. Whispers, perhaps exaggerated, of the quiet old lady, the codebreaker who dismantled her sophisticated tormentors with surgical precision. A certain respect mingled with fear, perhaps. My house finally feels like mine again, truly mine, quiet but a clean quiet now, a secure quiet, peaceful. I changed all the locks, of course, digitally and physically, upgraded everything. Installed state-of-the-art security systems, the kind Bernard recommended, layers of protection. Monitored 24/7. Nobody gets close without me knowing. I sleep better now, much better, deeply, the supplements obviously gone, flushed away. The chemical fog that clouded my mind for so long completely lifted within weeks. My mind feels sharp as ever, perhaps sharper, honed by the ordeal. Fueled by the knowledge that I didn't just endure, I fought back, intelligently, strategically, that I didn't just survive, I prevailed, on my own terms. Was it harsh? Yes, unquestionably. Was it ruthless? Absolutely. Coldly so. Was it necessary? For my peace, for my survival, for reclaiming my stolen self, for my soul, yes. It felt like the only proportional response to the abyss they tried to throw me into. They tried to bury me, silence me, erase me. They didn't know I was a seed, planted in darkness, yes, but a very patient, very resilient, and ultimately a very dangerous seed, waiting for the right conditions to break through the surface. My legacy isn't fragile anymore. It's not just numbers in a bank account. It's forged in fire, tempered by betrayal, tested to the absolute limit, and it emerged stronger than they could ever comprehend. Stronger than I knew myself to be. They underestimated me, because I was old, because I was family, because I was quiet. They won't make that mistake again. Nobody will. I am Agnes and I am nobody's victim. Not anymore, ever again. Wow, just wow. Take a breath. Agnes's story, it gives me chills every single time I think about it. The sheer audacity of the crime and the terrifying brilliance of her response. The calculation, the cold fury simmering beneath the surface, the absolute precision of her counterattack using her lifelong skills, the very things Marcus and Chloe dismissed because of her age, her supposed frailty, to bring their entire world crashing down around them. It's a chilling, powerful reminder. Never ever underestimate quiet intelligence. It often runs deepest. Never mistake age for weakness or kindness for naivety. And never, ever betray someone who understands exactly how systems work, especially systems designed to break things or people. What Agnes did, it was intense, it was harsh, it was deeply personal, some might even call it vengeful. A dish served not just cold but frozen solid. But when you're pushed that far, when everything you've built, your safety, your identity, your very sanity is under methodical attack by the very people you trusted most, loved most, where is the line? Where does justice end and revenge begin? What constitutes a proportional response? When the violation is so absolute, so intimate, so calculated. Agnes found her line, and she defended it fiercely, utterly. She reclaimed not just her assets or what was left of them, but her power, her agency, her self-respect, her very identity. On her own terms. Uncompromisingly. Brutally, perhaps, but effectively. What do you think? I really want to know. Was Agnes's response justified? Was it truly justice, or did it cross over into revenge? And ultimately, does that distinction even matter given what she endured? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to hear what you think about this one. It's complex, it's raw, there are no easy answers, and it's a story that stays with you. A cautionary tale on multiple levels. If stories like Agnes's resonate with you, these powerful stories of resilience, of finding strength in the darkest of times, of fighting back against overwhelming odds, then please make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. I share stories like this regularly, true stories, powerful stories, stories you often won't find anywhere else. Thank you for listening today, truly listening. For holding space for Agnes's experience, sharing these stories, helping these voices be heard. It feels important, necessary even. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, trust your instincts, and never, ever let anyone try to erase you or diminish your worth. I'm Victoria, signing off.